Hello, everyone. I'm Ronan and Jane, and I don't know how the hell this is happening, but I am having the honor and privilege to talking to someone who I have with us, someone who has made an impact, and I know that I'm gonna be passing down your work to people I meet. I'm like, yo, you're interested in PIs? You're interested in noir in this modern age? Go read this book. Go seek out this character. We have Mrs. Cynthia Von Buhler with us. Miss Von Buhler, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? It's
I
so nice to meet
I
you.
it's finally it's a pleasure to finally meet you face to face, even if it's virtually. I want to thank Titan Comics for giving me the opportunity. I thank also Hard Case Crime for being partners and helping you put these books out. Before we start talking about the book itself, I want to let people know who read the book or people who have not read the book, and I want to give this book and the character as much exposure as I can out of my niche corner. But how and where did Minky Woodcock enter your life? Was this something that had been bubbling in your mind for a while, or were you just taking a stroll one day during in the park and be like, you know what? I think I got something.
Well, I did this illustration in a totally different style. I'm a pretty well-known illustrator. For years, that's what I was doing, illustrating for like Rolling Stone and New York Times and a bunch of magazines. And and I had this illustration that I did that was a painting in that paint by numbers style, but it was but it was unfinished. Like I was like trying to pretend to be a paint by numbers, like just as a joke, but it was very sexual, and I didn't want to put my personal name on it. So a friend of mine had been just saying, "You're not a Cynthia Von Buhler. You're a Minky. You're a Minky Woodcock, like a Minky." And then another friend of mine came up with the name Woodcock. Like, what would my porn name be? And then she said it would be Woodcock. And I so like the name just stuck. So I actually won an illustration award. I was in American Illustration for this painting I did, and so I just kind of used the name as sort of my like porn name. Not that I do porn, but so it's like a funny name that I thought, oh, I like it, Minky Woodcock. It's my alter ego. So yeah, that's where that came from. And then I just had this idea when I love Harry Houdini, and I just thought he's probably was into S&M because he was always into being locked and tied up, and I just had the idea of doing a sort of a book about him and his mysterious death. And so yeah, so that's where that came from.
That is as poetic as it gets with the stuff I've read out of Minky. That is as poetic as it gets. I was like, yep, that would track. That is awesome. Every time I would post about this character in these books, I always say there's nothing like it in the stands, and that's why it stands out, and that's why Minky, along with for me Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig's character, are the two newest cool like detective characters we've gotten this far, and they're both relatable, likable. They have personalities, and yet you can't stop watching or reading about them as well. And
Thank you. I That's a compliment. I really do think this would make a great TV series or film, and
mhm.
that's when I was writing it, I was thinking of it that way. So there's sort of a B plot, the whole B plot of her mother,
Yes,
like how her mother died and she's a
yes,
detective, and it keeps growing. So each time I write a new one, I'm adding more to the whole B plot.
yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I spent the past few days since it was confirmed. Like, what am I going to ask? What am I going to ask? I came up with like 20 different questions. I wrote a timeline of like, I freaked out when I picked up the first issue of the Girl Called Cthulhu, and I was like, is she is Cynthia pulling a Temple of Doom? Is she pulling a Last Crusade with the timelines and whatnot? And eventually, I mean, there's literally a map graphic, and I'm like, I've seen that before. I know all these three books must have been time consuming and just a feat to accomplish. But and again, you don't have to answer it, and maybe you can say it, all of them, or however may have you. But out of the three books leading up to Cthulhu, and I think now with the Girl Called Cthulhu, which one was the most challenging of them all? Or if I should, maybe if I could rephrase it, which one was the most time consuming that you just once you looked into Houdini, to Tesla, to Lovecraft, that like the rabbit hole was so deep that like you had to pull yourself away and be like, okay, I've looked into it too much. I need to start writing something on that. Out of the three titles, which was Minky's
That's a
hardest?
good question. That's a good question. I feel like the first one was probably the most time consuming because I was just sort of finding my feet, like finding the personality and figuring out how to draw it because I wanted it to look like an old comic. And I feel like each time I do it, I'm getting closer to looking like an old comic. And I really love the art in the most recent one best because I really nailed it with the Ben-Day dots, like that old. I even colored it in 3 colors with the dots, and I think that, but it came out brighter and just I nailed it. I think. But so as far as the research and the just drawing, I think I was trying to figure it out in the first one. And my favorite one is the latest. Actually, I really do love the Cthulhu book. I think the premise is very, very, very cool. How it's all these authors helped end World War II, which is it's really interesting. Like just as on top of just the whole idea of what happened to the corpse from Operation Mincemeat, going at it from a different aspect. Like there must have been family members who were looking for this body, this guy. So it becomes a detective case. But the whole thing about World War II, and you're right about the time change, like because starts in 1926, I believe, and then it goes into the 40s. And I was a little unsure about that, and I had to ask Charles, my editor at Hard Case Crime, if this would work. Like, can we have a jump of that long? And he's like, if you can make it work, I think it's fine. And I think I did. I hope I made it work. But yeah, so that was kind of fun to do. But all of them have a ton of research, and I go down into the weeds of it. I really try to dig up as much real fact as I can to add to the story.
To make to sink all of us in. We're like, all right, a lot of this is facts. Minky doesn't exist, but I'm taking you along on a parallel journey as far as history clips and everything I've been able to find leads me to. So yeah, again, you said the texture of like the typewriter, the papers, the news articles. I was just like, you got the coloring right. That was freaking me out. And yeah, I had when I first read the comics, I had done the timeline. I had to go back to my old notebooks and was like, okay, Houdini is in 1926. This starts in October 26. So this had just been when Minky had met Harry. And then we cut to 1943 in March. But then Tesla's story is in January when Tesla died. And then it goes to June.
I'm personally dyslexic and I'm really bad with numbers, so I really had to like keep checking. Like everything actually had to be real. Like even my research about Gladys and everything is the dates really add up. Like they're real. She really lived in New York City then. So like, yeah, it all kind of came together. But I also do theater. I together immersive theater, and immersive theater. When you go to see this play and you're in the world, you have all these different timelines that are kind of coming together like puzzle pieces. So I'm good at writing that way. I'm like taking this and that and then weaving it together. So yeah, that's what I did with that. But there are a lot of time periods.
And I love that. To me, that speaks of in film or television where it's rewatchability. I could reread this book and I pick up on stuff. So like the fact that I went back and was like, not because I was just like, I want to see where she dropped the ball. But I was like, no, like as a geek, I was just like, okay, this and this and this. I like that even with like fictional people, you don't mind taking a jab here and there, especially with Lovecraft, which I was rereading the first issue and I was just laughing my ass off. I was just like,
I do some pretty crazy things to him, don't I?
Yes, that second issue, it was one of those. Oh my gosh!
I wrote a screenplay for this as well, and I've been kind of working this as a screenplay. So I love that when you're watching something and the timelines go back and forth, and you've got flashbacks, you've got dreams, and you have all of these things. So it's not just this happens and that happens. It's kind of it's more like the real world. I also like it when, you read something and you want to go find out more. Like I love curiosity. I personally a very curious person, and I think you are too, obviously, like, from what you're asking me. So I love that as well. Like, do these things really line up? Were these people alive at the same time? Were they possibly working together? I think those kind of things are really interesting. And then maybe someone will read this and go and look it up and say, oh, yeah, this is real. Like, they really were working together. Lovecraft and Houdini did work on a book together, which is
Yeah.
kind of fascinating.
Yes. Like, I think different personalities, and yet it was just like somewhere in there was a cross meet of
Yeah.
crossing of the streams, if you will, of just like, okay, let's just work on something together. And
Yeah.
I think the first, I mean, again, like I freaked out when I saw the image and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? And then it wasn't until this that I was just like, again, not I like history, but usually I need to find something. I need a hook to get me into going into a specific age to go in
Yeah.
fully. And besides being out of school and not having to be mandatory, but like the fact that like I saw these panels and was like, did they really meet? I was like, what? And when again a little bit of research, I was like, wow, they did meet. And I was talking to a relative of mine who is a Lovecraft fan, a fan of Lovecraft's work, mind you, of his work, because my relative was very clear, like, oh yeah, he was of his times. I mean, and then I remember him, I'll never forget it. My relative was like, look up his cat's name, and I was like, why? And I looked it up. I was like, oh God. I was like, are you kidding me? And it's like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this from his book? I mean, no, that's not from his book. And I was like, okay, that is the times, I suppose. But I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. He was, he was he was a racist. He was a piece of work, but but his work was really interesting. And I think one thing I connected about with him is I have a sleep disorder, and I've been diagnosed as a idiopathic hypersomnia, as having that. Like, I have a really hard time sleeping. I have nightmares every night. I have done some of those dreams where you leave your body kind of thing, and so I could relate to that with him, like the nightmares and all of that. And I think a lot of his trauma is coming out through his nightmares. And I think that, and he's putting it into his books, like all this stuff. So when I was reading it, I was thinking, oh, like he's got trauma, like, and it's probably sounds to me like it might be sexual with all these tentacles, like, so, like, I don't know, like, it just seemed like, why is he so obsessed with Cthulhu and these sea monsters and these tentacles? And so what I do to him is probably pretty horrifying to him, but I think he kind of deserved it a little.
I reread the first issue again, and I was like, I wonder if this detail is intended. But like, and I love what you do is that like you like I appreciate the art or the work he did, because it was entertaining and it was horrific. But
Yeah.
I don't run away, or I don't deny that he was a dick. And
Yeah.
I choose that word specifically because you draw him covering Houdini's,
Yeah.
and I was like, if that was intentional, that is cool. That is the most like punk mock of like Lovecraft. You're a genius in writing, but fuck.
It's so funny that you said that. Actually, my editor for the book, he actually said something about that too. He was like, "That's the perfect placement of Lovecraft."
Your blocking is phenomenal, Cynthia.
What's interesting is they really did work on a book together. The cancer, the what is it? Um, the cancer of superstition, I believe, something like that. And they only got started before Houdini was killed. And you can go back and read the Houdini book about what happened to him and why, possibly if he was murdered, maybe that's up to you to decide. But um, but that book didn't get made. It didn't get finished. It got canceled. So the people who were the into the occult, they kind of got their way. That book didn't come out because Houdini was really really against um, you know thought that they were preying on people who were naive or who had lost people, and they were trying to bring them back from the dead in superstition. So yeah, so they all the books kind of tie in together. I like that. Hopefully I can keep doing that.
That's what I love about the books, and you said it perfectly. They're like, I didn't need to read Houdini or Tesla to, for me, appreciate Cthulhu, the Girl Called Cthulhu on its own. Like, I didn't need to do that. Like, you do enough work to give you hints at the past and the future. Mr. Crowley and the lady in the boat, and I was like, I remember reading that, and I was like, you son of a, I was like, you haven't even told her yet that, like, what happened to her mom. And that's what I think. I put it down somewhere. I'm like, that is the benchmark of something that really can stand on its own. I think it's what a lot of, and I'm a nerd, and so this might sound hypocritical, but a lot of these blockbusters, a lot of these big movies that I love, and I happily go pay admission for, is that a lot of these stuff that is connected some of them can stand on their own and be connected, and you don't have to see the rest of the stuff. You can just enjoy that one thing. But if you see the rest of the stuff, or like in my instance, if I read all 3 books, there's an enrichedness experience to it. There's like I said, I wrote a damn timeline for it, and like the fact that what Minky finds out later about her mom, and then the hints of like, oh, Jack the Ripper, she found out, but we couldn't let her reveal it. And I was like, again, the moment in books that I'm like, I read something, and I'm like, God damn it. I was like, I wish I was there to do something. I wish I was there to like lend a hand. So that's genius and brutal. This popular brutal.
I'll have to explore that some more, but yeah, I really do think it should be a TV series, and I've been getting into that now. I'm doing another book I have that is being made into an animated film. So getting more, and that's for children, but I also do children's books, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I'm getting more into that world. So I did study screenwriting too. So I'm really interested in exploring that with this story. I feel like it's made to be a TV series.
Yeah. The whole thing of the body, or the World War II operation, again, coincidence, call it superstition, call it whatever may have you. As I was reading the series when it was coming out on a monthly basis, my relatives, that was a Lovecraft fan, was watching a series on Netflix about said operation with Colin Firth, I believe, is who was in it. And I was like, I remember reading, I was like, are you and I watching, experiencing the same tale, just to a different perspective? And I was like, yeah, like, is there a body in yours? Like, yeah, there's a body they're trying to find, or they're trying to hide, if you will, or get rid of.
When I was first started working on this, it was several years ago, and it was before that movie came out. And I remember I was working on researching Ian Fleming and his work during World War II, because I think he's really interesting. And so then I found out about Operation Mincemeat, the Trout Memo, and all of this, all of this. And then I read that same book that they made the film about.
Yeah.
And so I was coming at it, but I was coming at it from my own weird, twisted point of view of like, okay, so they use this body, but who was looking for him? Like, I made it into a detective story rather than a spy story or whatever. Yeah. So it's a complete, they actually work well together. If you read one and then read this, you find out completely new facts, like about his sister, and all of that's true. He really had a sister named Gladys, and had a baby named Dennis, who could still be alive for all I know. Maybe he'll come, he'll contact me. You never know. That happens.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, it's that, all of that is real research I did. I was looking at ancestry records, and she did move to New York. So if you really like, I just recently did a podcast interview about Broadway shows, and we talked a lot about Operation Mincemeat was made into a Broadway show. I don't know if you realize that. Also,
I heard about that, but I didn't really know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, in England, and then now here in New York, it's made into a show. So yeah, so this is a totally different take on it. It's a detective take, and it's going deeper into the facts. Even though we've got the character Minky, who is she's fictional, there's a lot of fact in there. So like for history buffs who are curious, like detective, spy, James Bond, all of that, this is the kind of book that I think would appeal to you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Have any historians big or small ones who have a presence on social media or have a following, have they contacted me like, well done, or they've been like, bullshit, this is not what we would have been when
I think that's interesting. They've pretty much been cool with it.
Okay,
this book hasn't come out yet, so I don't know about this book. But with Houdini, there's a guy who has a website that has a lot of facts about Houdini. He wrote about my book in his. I think he was a little skeptical of some things, but in my books, I don't really say one way or another. I put the facts out there and I let you decide. Like, I didn't say Houdini was murdered. Right. I said, here's some evidence that he might have been murdered. There's, you decide what you think. Yeah. So, he was sort of skeptical about some things. Some people have different ideas about, these kind of things, like historians. Right. And with Tesla, I met some people from the Tesla Museum, and they were pretty open to it. They were actually quite impressed that I had really dug up all the research.
Done your homework. Yeah.
I think that a lot of historians will read it and be like, wow, she really did her research. This isn't just like some little comic book. This is some serious research. And so we'll see with this one. I don't think anybody has put out a book yet about how spy and detective authors helped end World War II. And I think that that's a really interesting premise. From my point of view, I think that's an interesting story. And, I like to say books, not bombs, like ended the war. Sure, there was a bomb, but I think that it's an interesting, we'll see what people think. I'm open to it. I love to debate and hear people's thoughts, but I let people make their own decisions.
Ian Fleming, I had emailed you saying like, the shaking off the martini, is this intentional? You did. And I was like, is this intentional? Like, what does this mean? Like, please tell me. And I was asking you about interviews. It's kind of poetic that we're doing this. And you said, "Dear Miguel, you are astute. Wonderful question. I will answer it in issue 3 or 4. You're going to love the ending of this book." This was I think issue 1. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta wait till the end of the book to find out what's happening.
I put your letter in there, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I love that. I love that you wrote the letter and I got it in there. Yeah. Like I think that was a great addition, was having the letters at the end, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
To give all of the facts. I think I always like letters in the backs of comics, like old comics. Yeah. So having the letters was cool. And thank you so much for writing to me and asking me that question.
Absolutely. I was just like, I'm not usually that type of person, but I was just like, I got to know. I need to know, like how far does this go? And you're like, just wait.
Right? You got it. We got your answer in the end, didn't you?
And it was glorious, Jane Bond. And again, take your hand off my thigh and go get me a drink. I was just like, oh, I could not think of a perfect ending. And if Ian was smart, and again, he's along with it, but I think he would have gotten a real kick out of this book. I really think that he would have been like, yeah.
I actually went to his house. Like, so when I was working on this book, I did research, and he has a resort called GoldenEye in Jamaica. And I went there and I was working on the book while I was there, which was really cool. Like, anyone want to go and see, like, you could swim in this big eye pool on the ocean. It's beautiful resort, beautiful, called GoldenEye in Jamaica. But little out of the way, but it was cool. Originally, I wanted to do this book about Ian Fleming. So that's what I had spoken to my publishers about, and they suggested maybe bringing some other elements into it, like Lovecraft and Crowley, and I had to just find the story, and I think I did find the story.
If Cthulhu wasn't in the title, if it was more leaning into Mr. Fleming and his MI6, MI5 world, what would have been the title if it was more leaning into the espionage?
Oh, I had some really good ones. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'd have to dig them out, but I had some. I think there was the girl who broke the bonds. The girl who broke all bonds. The girl who broke all bonds, or something like that. They were hilarious, but I couldn't do it because Titan is they're putting out books by Ian Fleming. Like, they're putting out the James Bond world books, so they didn't want to they didn't want me to go there. And so I could use him, but I couldn't like make fun of him like I did with Lovecraft.
And that's fine. Again, killer title with the Girl Called Cthulhu. Josephine, I was so happy to see her again, because the Tesla event, the Tesla journey was a blast. And again, are they in Jamaica at the end? Is that where they go? Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so they go to Jamaica, and Ian Fleming was in Jamaica during that time because there was this naval convention.
Right.
And that's what first brought him to Jamaica. He ended up moving to Jamaica and becoming a writer and writing all the James Bond books there. But his friend brought him there, and I read all his books. Like I read the book about his friend, about who's in the book too. I don't know if you I really get into the weeds, but like when he goes in to see Josephine, he's with another guy. That guy is his friend who in real life who brought him to Jamaica, and for this naval conference. Yeah, I read his book. I can't remember his name. I read so many books. Like I really get into it. But yeah, so that was a naval conference. Did Josephine Baker perform at it? Probably not. She could have. I mean, but I don't think so. That was just I wanted to bring her back to the story because she's kind of Minky's love interest. Minky is bisexual.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring her back in for that. So because I think she's a great character, and I have a great model.
It was a blast, especially with what they went through in Tesla's journey, and then again she pulls up on the Nazi of like in that not the bakery, but they were selling meat.
The meat market. The meat market.
Yeah, the meat market, and I was like, oh, it's cool that like she had
her own vegetarian. Like that's like that was kind of like the meat went everywhere like that. Like that was. I have my little vegetarian things in there sometimes. My animal rights things, and but yeah, she's a cool character. She was a spy. My sister told me that actually. One of my sisters said, "Did you know Josephine Baker was a spy?" And I actually had heard a little bit about it, but then that could even be its own book at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a really interesting character, and I have a friend who impersonates her, who's been in some of my plays. Josephine Baker was in one of my plays, and my friend Mia, she models for me for that, for her, and she did for this book, and of course Pearls Daly modeled for me for Minky.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
listen, we got to give her roses because Pearls Daly, first of all, Pearls Daly, if you're watching this, congratulations on the kid. I'm happy for you.
Oh yes, the baby Babs.
Yeah.
I was thinking I should maybe like going into the future. Like I kind of want to go into I love going through time traveling.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's the mother, right, and then you have Minky. What if Minky's daughter Babs becomes a detective?
No, please.
I haven't mentioned this to Pearls yet, but I was just thinking, how am I going to get into the present day?
Yes.
And I was thinking,
please.
Babs.
I cannot imagine Pearls not having a kick out of that. She's enchanted.
It's beautiful.
I was taken back just seeing the photos. Yes, the promos, they're holding the little thing, the photos you have of her and your actor you had for Tesla. I was just like, why isn't there a short film? Why isn't A24 picking this up? Like what the hell?
I know. She's perfect for the role. And I'm gonna start. I gotta promote it. I'm gonna send out, now that I have 3 books, I'm gonna send it out to production companies. There was one production company that wanted it, but then they said because it was a period piece that it's hard to produce period pieces and to sell them in Hollywood right now. I mean, it happens. People do them. Look at Gilded Age and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Mrs. Maisel. Yeah.
I just need to. And actually, Pearls was on Mrs. Maisel. She was a guest for a couple times.
Yes.
So I feel like I can do it. If I set my mind to something, I can do it.
Yes.
And I will get it made into a TV series.
To me, Theo Guillermo del Toro, my uncle. I'm just kidding. He's not my uncle, but Guillermo del Toro I think cracked the code for me when I heard how much it cost them to do The Shape of Water. $19.4 million. And I'm like, that movie looks like it's a $60 million movie. How the
It's
hell
a
did they
gorgeous
do that?
movie. I love that movie so
I love it.
much.
I love it. It's my
As
favorite.
being someone who loves animals and nature, it really spoke to me. Like how they were treating it. I love that movie so much. He's such a genius. Actually, New York Times just did a piece on the best movies of the century, and I voted. Everybody can vote, and Shape of Water was on my list for sure. Oakjaw. I don't know if you saw Oakjaw. That was really good too. You should check it out.
Is that Oakjaw, the one with the giant, the creature, if you will? Yeah.
The giant pig. It was like, so he's got, I can't remember his name, Boone something, right? He did Parasite. Yeah, he did Parasite. And my favorite film by him was Oakjaw. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I had heard about that one. Yeah.
You should watch it. It's good.
All right, I'll put it in the list. Where are we at with adaptation? Because like you said it in this interview, and I've said it to people, I'm like, this should be, in a big world with the exposure movies do get, it should be a movie, but I think television might be better for it to keep the mystery going on a weekly basis, not or binging. Although I prefer the weekly release concept, and it would give it air to breathe. You wouldn't have to cut out so much. You would give it enough air to breathe, and each book could be a season. Each book could easily be a season, so you don't have to worry about adding stuff in, taking stuff out. It's like, no, it's right there for you, and there's plenty of stuff to dig out from those. But where are we at with adaptation? Are you shopping it around now, or has anybody come knocking?
Like I said, there was interest from one company, and then they decided to go with my other book instead, my children's book. So which is interesting. But I'm gonna, now that I have the 3 books, I'm gonna send them out to production companies and get it out there a little bit. And I need to go back to my screenplay because I originally wrote one for the Houdini book, but now I have more experience with it, and I want to go back and think about how I could make it into a series and write some episodes. But I agree with you. I think it needs to be a TV series, and there's been such great TV lately. Could see it as a TV series more than a film. There's so much there to put that into a film. Like, I think each book could be its own film.
Yes. Oh yeah. But if Knives Out can pull it off, this could do it. Yeah.
I like the idea of the B story about the mother and all of that. I just feel like to get all of that in and to kind of slowly give that away would be interesting to have it be a TV series. So I don't know. Definitely put out the word. I'm going to put out the word and see.
I would happily put out the word. Have you contemplated about doing this as a trade paperback? Like no visuals, just like old school, the Parker, if you will, like just have it up and leave it to people to bring it up. Has that been an idea you've messed around with, or no?
Honestly, I feel like I do a lot of things. I do theater, I do art, but I consider myself an artist first and foremost. So for me, I only write books with pictures, and I love graphic novels. I love children's books, but for me, I get the emotion out and the personalities out through my pictures. So I am not a novelist at this point in my life. Maybe someday I will be, but I really have no interest in that. Right now, I love just doing pictures. And I think that the next step would be more like TV or film because it's visual. And a graphic novel is like making your own film. You're making your storyboards for a film. So I kind of get into that, like the visual of it. It's such an important part of it for me. So no, I don't have any interest in being an author. I am an author, but I don't have any interest in being a novelist. I think if somebody came along and they loved the story and they loved and they were a good writer, I would love to see someone else adapt it into be a novel. But it's not for me. But if somebody else wanted to do it, that would be kind of cool.
Novels, not right now. Movies, shows, that's the next approach for where we can go. To me, another medium that has really given me an interest is audio novels. There's the ones I specifically think of. They're more of like scripted podcasts, if you will, like Audible
Yes.
Sandman or
Yes.
Stages Wolverine, stuff with like actors performing the lines, sound
Yes.
effects, music. That's something else I also think you can do with Minky Woodcock, of like just people be like,
Absolutely. I've thought about that.
yeah,
Like, I thought, because I have so many actors who are so talented, and I could totally do that. Like, get the actors to read it. It's just, it's not my wheelhouse as far as I personally I'm not an actor, but it's something I would consider with all of the people that I have. Like, because like true crime is so hot right now.
yes,
And this
oh my
is
god,
true crime, but even more enhanced. So yeah, I think that if someone came to me who knew how to do it, I would definitely be interested. I just don't know a lot about recording, and it requires a lot with recording and all of that. But I think it's a cool idea for sure. I love podcasts. I listen when I'm drawing. I listen to podcasts like all the time.
yeah. Now,
My favorite podcast is Hidden Brain. Have you ever listened to Hidden Brain?
no, what is that?
It's really good. It's just like this guy, and it's just all about people and why they do what they do, and it's really
Psychology.
good. Yeah, science, psychology, and the guy is just a really amazing voice and personality. But I really like Hidden Brain. That's my favorite podcast.
Adding it to the list. I feel like Steve Rogers. Like, all right, I'll check it out. The book's about to come out, and for those who have been watching this now, I thank y'all for watching this. But in a week, or no, by the time you see this, the book will be out. The hardcover will be out. People can experience it, love Minky more if they've been following it. I did also the timetable of when these books released, and it's every 3 years. Much like I'm going to sing your praise. Much like Tarantino, when he has a movie coming out, it's an event. When you have another Minky Woodcock book out, in my opinion, it's an event for me.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
Having said that, I need to know where she's at. What happened after that last page? Where is Minky at? Is she okay? Does she need help? I am willing to like beat up scientists and be like, yo, get me back in. Minky needs help. Where are we at with Minky's adventures?
I haven't decided what to do next. Okay. I actually already have to do this other book. Mm-hmm. The book that for children. I got to get that done first. So usually I'm thinking about it and I'm researching first for about a year. So I'm starting to think about it, and something will come to me and I'll start working on it. But that's why it takes 3 years, because I do other projects in between.
Yeah.
I'm really quick. Like, I draw very quickly. I think I drew this book in a half a year, the Cthulhu book. Damn. Yeah. The writing takes a little longer. Like, the writing takes about a year. But then the drawing, I am a very skilled artist. I don't know if you know
yes,
that.
You are. Yes, you are.
Yes, I really can draw fast, and these are pretty realistic. So it's, but that's why the only problem is by the time I'm so busy working on the interiors that I don't have time to do all the covers. So we hired women. We only hired women to do covers, so they're all beautiful covers. Like, every cover is gorgeous, and like each comic book issue comes out, as you know, with like there's 4 issues in one book. And each one, we have 4 different artists illustrate them. So there's so many beautiful covers. Yeah. So, but I'm so tired and busy drawing the interiors, I can't do all the covers, even though I want to. But it's good to collaborate.
Yeah, like, all right, let somebody else handle it. Let's get somebody else a job to, like, all right, I need a cover. Yeah. Can you do it?
Boom. Give some other women some, like, I love it that it's women artists, and they all did it. They all really kicked ass and made beautiful covers.
What is Mrs. Von Buhler? What is she watching these days? What is she reading these days, or comics or novels? Like, what's something that you would recommend having us talk? Know that I'm a fan. Like, is there something that you're watching right now that you're like, you know what, I should give this a try? This is what I'm watching. I'm liking a lot. What's in your ballpark right now of taking in entertainment and pop culture and stories?
That's really interesting. I really liked the film Poor Things. I don't know if you saw that one with Emma.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous.
It was
gorgeous.
so
People. Oh man,
gorgeous, and I love surrealism. And so I just thought it was so gorgeous and surreal and weird and dark.
I
And
thought of your art when I was looking at that movie. I was just like,
yeah.
Cynthia would dig.
And
You
you
know,
mentioned Guillermo del Toro, and it like they had talked. They asked him if he wanted to do this film for my other thing, but like he's so busy. Maybe he'll be involved in some way. I don't know.
Please, like, Theo Guillermo,
oh
please.
My God!
Finish Frankenstein, and then do this, and then do the Mount of the Madness. Just finish that.
Well, we have a director, but that maybe he could be involved in some in some way. But yeah, I love that. I'm watching right now. I'm watching Squid Game 2. I watched book 1 and I really loved it. It reminds me of my book, The Illuminati Ball, a little bit, which was also a play, right? I could see some, and I had talked to people about making that into a reality show, like the people who did Project Runway and Top Chef were considering making Illuminati Ball into a reality TV.
Really? Holy! All right.
I tried to get them to do it, but maybe it was just too weird. I don't know. I still think that the Illuminati Ball would be a great reality show, and if anybody is interested, let me know. But but yes, so I'm watching Squid Game 2, and I'm actually the first episode I wasn't really that into because they have to sort of get you back into it. But now I'm really it's good. I like it better than the first one in some ways. I think that it really. I think it kind of really, it's more realistic in some ways, like how the people are acting. It shows the good and bad in people, and I love the morality tests and all of that is really fascinating to me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm as far as reading, I've been doing a lot of research about the natural world, and I like mushrooms, and like how mushrooms like use trees and mushrooms used to speak, like they communicate. And so I'm like really going into the weeds on mushrooms and trees and the natural world and bees and how all of these things are. So I don't know if your listeners would be interested in that, but I've been reading
Yeah, to me, when I get to talk to someone either in an interview or in life, and I'm a fan of theirs, anything they're watching or reading, I take it away as well, because that just enhances the material I love about them, and whether it's related or non-related at all, I take with it. Like, again, I was telling you that, like, this past week, knowing that this was coming up, I was just getting in the vibe. I'm like, okay, noir, detective, graphic novels, give me the juice to fill up. Like last night, I rewatched Chinatown for the first time in a while, and I had not seen it in a while, and I was like, I think now is best time than ever to rewatch it before I talk to you. And again, I was hearing Jerry Goldsmith's score, and I was playing it while I was rereading the book, and I was like, yeah, this is the sweet spot for me. For anybody who's watching this has been one of the coolest. I don't even know if I should even say it. Like, I don't think I'm worthy of saying achievements in my life, but like I'm not blowing smoke on your face, Ms. Von Buhler. This is one of the coolest things I've been able to do. And I'm still kind of freaking out right now as I'm sitting down and talking to you. They're like, yo, you did something really cool. I like it a lot.
That's so sweet. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I love talking to people who understand, who get it, and you get into the weeds of it, and I could see that. I loved your letter to me. It was really great. And yeah, no, it was a pleasure talking to you.
It was an honor to talk to you. It was a true honor. Please, before we go, I know there's a blog tour happening either now, about to start, or in the coming weeks for Minky Woodcock's Girl Called Cthulhu. So people should go check that out. I think it's on Titan Comics and on Hard Case Crimes social media, so you can find it, and I'll put it up at the end of this interview. But is there anything you have coming up that you'd like to let people know about? Please, the floor is yours.
If anybody wants to, follow me, it's Cynthia Von Buhler on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm back on Twitter now. Someone stole my identity, so I had to put mine back up, so no one thought I was the other person. But but yeah, so right, actually, this is a fun thing. It's pretty much already full, but I'm having a party, my book release party on a boat on next week in the Hudson River, and then we're recreating the boat from like Aleister Crowley's boat from like. I got this going to be amazing pictures. So if you want to see the pictures from, we're going to have Aleister Crowley there and Ian Fleming, Minky. I'll be there, and Aleister Crowley's little cronies and Betty May, the Tiger Woman. Everyone's going to be there in costume, and so we might have a few spots left. If anybody is in New York and they want to come, you could look on my social media and you'll see the invitation. It is pretty full, but I might be able to sneak a couple people in. You can't come. You can't get out yet. Actually,
I wish I could.
I'm doing it again during. If it goes well, I'm going to do it again during New York Comic Con.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Like on the Saturday night of New York Comic Con, I might do it on this boat again because it would be fun.
The next goal. Yeah. Folks, please go check that out. I think the next goal now is I need to interview Prose Daily, and then once I talk to her, I need to get you two to the West Coast, or I need to get my ass to the East Coast, and like I need to have a sit down with the two of you and be like, okay, let's geek out. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I think we need to geek out about Minky. Why not? Ms. Von Buhler, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Don't stop what you're doing.
Pleasure.
I know I need it. I think the world needs it right now. And please have a good day. Take care of yourselves. And please, I need to see where Minky's at now. I need to know she's okay.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I got to go put my pigs away. I've got pet pigs, and I got to go put them back in their barn.
I've seen about it. Yeah.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
Talking to you. Bye-bye.